Okay, so and we do have, so we're going to go through the housekeeping stuff first because this is a new world, right? We have wipes. So I will wipe the mic when I leave it, and then the next person will come up and they'll wipe the mic as they come up so that we can, as we're speaking up here, we can go maskless. Welcome to our 2020 Dame Cicely Awards. I was just sharing with Becky that when I was getting ready last year for the Dame Cicely Awards, I was worried about what shoes I was going to wear because they had a heel, and I was worried about, it's an event where we're walking around a lot. And this morning, what I was thinking about, where's my mask that matches? Is this my favorite mask? How many people here have a favorite mask? Right? It's a whole new world. Things have changed so very drastically, but what has remained the absolute same is the love and the care that we get to provide to our community through our Hospice of the Foothills work. Like just about everything this last year, today's event is a little bit different. We have just a few folks here in the room, and we know many of you are watching safely from your home. And we long for the day when we're all going to be together again. And though there have been many challenges and truly uncharted waters during this time, tonight is about the one thing that remains the same: the Hospice of the Foothills family. Our family is comprised of staff, volunteers, community members, board members, vendors, and friends of hospice, and we could not do it without each of you. Those with us here today and those of you at home. Today we're here to honor 3 special members of this community with our Dame Cicely Award. The award invokes the name of Dame Cicely Saunders, the founder of the modern hospice movement. Frustrated by what she felt was an ambivalence to those at the end of life, she became a nurse, a social worker, and eventually a physician, and devoted her career to the caring, comfort, and dignity of dying patients. She brought forth the idea of whole person care, body, mind, and spirit. Crazy how they're all connected, right? And in 1967, she opened the very first hospice in London, England. Dame Cicely revolutionized the way in which society cares for dying people everywhere. As you listen to the incredible contributions of our award recipients, please know you all, those of you that are here today and those of you at home, are a valued part of our Hospice of the Foothills family, and we thank you for the many ways that you contribute to our mission. To start off our evening, please help me welcome Reverend Michael Thompson, Hospice of the Foothills chaplain.
Well, thank you, everybody. This is an amazing opportunity to recognize our award winners. The care that's what they serve the community and the care that they provide and help provide is overwhelming to see our patients comforted as they experience the end of life. The spirit of hospice care is the dignity and meaning that is brought to the dying person and the surviving family and friends of the loved one. Dame Cicely Saunders captured the love and support that is generated in a loving hospice community when she stated, "Suffering is only tolerable when nobody cares, or intolerable when no one cares. One continually sees the faith in God, and his care is made infinitely easier by faith in someone who has shown kindness and sympathy." And that's what hospice care is about. Hospice as a community is made of many facets: clinical staff, administration, volunteers, and community leaders that support hospice. Suffering in the lives of our hospice patient becomes tolerable when all these many pieces work together. Demonstrated in tonight's award ceremonies are 3 examples of amazing support and care that support the dying and comforts the bereaved. And I just want to tell a quick story about Sari. I know I'm not stealing someone else's thunder, I'm sure. I apologize. But we had a particular difficult situation, and this person called in, and Sari answered the phone. And there was a hush in the office because everyone knew who this was calling in. And Sari handled that. She filled that call. If she was a pro ball player catching a line drive at a baseball game, she not only did an amazing job, she then threw it to home plate and stopped the home run. She's amazing at what she did. I was totally impressed. As a spiritual care counselor, I've been able to witness how capable and willing all these people in the community, Robinsons, for supporting the community during the PSPS or supporting ag, watching Horizon move heaven and earth to get oxygen to a patient. It's just absolutely amazing. All three of tonight's award winners make up the loving and supportive community that helps the dying to transition from life to the next with comfort and dignity. And here's a quick afterglow, or a thought. It's called Afterglow. I'd like the memory of me to be a happy one. I'd like to leave an afterglow of smiles when life is done. I'd like to leave an echo whispering softly down the ways of happy times and laughing times of bright and sunny days. I'd like the tears of those who grieve to dry before the sun. Oh, of happy memories that I leave when life is done. Thank you very much, award winners. My COVID duty.
I feel so safe.
So as we introduce and present the awards tonight, things again are going to be a little bit different. So when I get done talking about the Robinsons, I'm going to ask you to come up and grab your plaque and your brick. I won't be handing it to you as much as I miss that touch. And then we'll just give each other that little bit of space. So the Robinson family, you guys get ready. This is like a book. The Robinson family's deep ties to Nevada County began when Thomas Jefferson Robinson moved to Penn Valley from Ohio in 1874, almost 150 years ago. He established one of the first ranches in our area. TJ's grandson, Lowell, was born in 1921 to Guy and Olive Robinson. Lowell grew up on the family ranch in Penn Valley, working with cattle and attending the one-room Indian Springs schoolhouse. In 1949, at the age of 20, Lowell partnered with Joe Griggs and Ed Walker to create Robinson and Sons, a successful logging operation. As opportunities arose, the three expanded from logging into petroleum, construction, hauling hazardous materials removal, and more. Their hard work developed into a thriving business. Lowell was introduced to Wanda when she was here visiting friends from her home in Colorado. They married in 1969. And this is Lowell and Wanda. During the past 71 years, the Robinson companies have given generous support to numerous local causes and have contributed countless hours to the betterment of this community. In addition to funding many charities and nonprofits, they helped build the ball field at Nevada Union High School, Sierra College's soccer field, and did the grading work for the building of Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital. Tim Robinson began working for his grandfather at the age of 14. He and his wife Becky have been married for 29 years, and they have raised two wonderful daughters in our community. The Robinsons' connection with Hospice of the Foothills began in 1999 when Wanda was invited to join the board of directors. She served for 7 years and held the position of secretary for many of those years. Andy Owens, who was president of the board during her tenure, had this to say: I had the joy and honor to serve with Wanda Robinson on the Hospice of the Foothills Board of Directors. Wanda had a quiet personality, but when she spoke, you listened, because she always had such sage wisdom and insight. Having had a career in nursing gave Wanda a compassion and life experiences that the rest of us did not have. Wanda is the sweetest person you can ever know, and I so enjoyed serving on the board with her. I want to thank Wanda and the entire Robinson family for all they have done for our community over the years. They are so deserving of this recognition. Dennis Fournier Hoff's executive director at that time echoed Andy's comments and added that Wanda was much respected and a dedicated member of the board. Her contributions were significant. Both Lowell and Wanda played a role in the Capitol campaign to build and relocate Hoff to the beautiful campus that we now inhabit. Lowell passed away in 2015 at the age of 86, but the family business continues and is managed by a new generation. Today, Tim Robinson, Joe Griggs Jr., and Don Hoffler operate Robinson Enterprises and continue the important philanthropic work in our community. We were extremely fortunate that in 2017, 11 years after Wanda's board service ended, Tim's wife, Becky, a trained social worker with elder care experience, began volunteering as a patient support volunteer. Becky began spending time with Hoff patients, and in 2018, she joined the Friends of Hospice Auxiliary, assisting in fundraising event activities. In January 2019, I guess Becky still didn't just quite have enough to do, so she completed the Dying Vigil volunteer training and began sitting bedside with our patients during their final days or hours. This special role allows caregivers to get much needed rest and also provides comfort for those patients with no family present and who would otherwise be alone. Her dedication to our mission was unmistakable, and Becky was invited to join our board of directors. She, like her mother-in-law, provides kind, quiet, sage leadership to our board, and we are so grateful that she has agreed to chair our board development committee starting this year. Becky and Tim have participated in numerous fundraising endeavors, and having been on a couple of the jail unveils with Tim, I'm a little curious that at 14 he didn't go into stand-up comedy, because he's a pretty funny guy. Our community owes him a debt of gratitude for choosing instead to stay here in our town. This kind, funny combo is a part of why their outreach is invaluable. Last fall, Robinson Enterprises was not only a sponsor for our Moonlight Magic event, they also donated to our auction and filled a table for the event. During the numerous power outages last fall, Robinson Enterprises made sure that our generator was serviced frequently to ensure that our staff could continue to care for patients uninterrupted. We are so grateful to have this incredible family woven into the fabric that is Hospice of the Foothills. Their quiet leadership and dedicated support of Hoff and this community is extraordinary. The Robinson family exemplifies Dame Cicely's principles of faith, humility, and service to others. We are very pleased that they have allowed us to honor them with this award. Becky and Tim and their daughters Emily and Elizabeth are with us this evening to accept the Dame Cicely Saunders Award on behalf of the entire Robinson family. Thank you.
On behalf of Wanda and the Robinson family, thank you. Wanda would have liked to have been here this evening. She was looking forward to seeing this video, and I know she will appreciate the kind words as much as Tim and I do. Thank you so much for such a thoughtful tribute. When I first considered volunteering with Hospice, Wanda encouraged me. A couple of years later, when I was invited to join the board of directors, she shared her positive experiences on the board and again encouraged me to serve. As usual, her advice was wise, and I'm thankful for it. I have met many exceptional people in all areas of this work. Patients and families who are using the services, professional and talented staff who genuinely care, many skilled and compassionate volunteers, and generous donors who are supportive financially. They are all important and appreciated. The board of directors works well together as a team. A lot of time and effort goes on behind the scenes and in support of the wonderful staff. I'm glad to be a part of that. As a respite volunteer, we meet people where they are, not only in terms of where they live, but also in regards to what they're living through and what their day is like. It can be challenging work, and it isn't always easy, but I believe it's also an important part of our mission here at Hospice. It is the mission that we all keep our eyes on. Cicely Saunders said hospice enables people to live the best quality of life they can for as long as they can. Another quote that speaks to that mission is this: "You matter because you are you, and you matter to the end of your life." We will do all we can, not only to help you die peacefully, but also to live until you die. Every day, in determined yet gentle ways, Hospice of the Foothills strives to meet that mission. I'm honored to be a part of it. We look forward to continuing our support in any way we can. Thank you.
I won't clean it between two.
I'd also like to say thank you. My grandparents consistently and quietly modeled the behavior of giving back to the community and supporting a lot of local nonprofits. My grandfather, Lowell, always had a hard work ethic. He'd always say, if you're only working 12 hours a day, you're only working half a day. So it was kind of hard to keep up with him, but somehow some of us did. He believed in hard work, but he also believed in helping those in need and supporting our local community. He would purposely buy a big piece of equipment and have it sold to us here, even if we bought it out of town, just so the tax dollars would come to the community. He was that community minded. So we want to thank you for recognizing my grandparents and as well as Becky's contribution to hospice. She doesn't like a lot of recognition, but I got to tell you, she is the kindest and most sincere, caring person and thoughtful person you could ever meet. The way that she genuinely cares for everybody, and especially the elderly. If she sees an elderly person being mistreated, she can't handle it. So this is a very fitting role for her to be in. So, as a company, Robinson Enterprises has been doing business, as you heard, for over 70 years in Nevada County. And my partners, Joe Griggs and Don Hoffler, they're instrumental in the decisions to support hospice and the other nonprofits. So I want to thank you guys for the work you do in this community and across the nation, especially this community. And I know personally a lot of people that have benefited from hospice. It's very appreciated. So I'll wrap up with a joke. So, and some of you have probably already heard this, but did you hear about the scarecrow that won a special award? Yeah, he was outstanding in his field. And do you know what he said about that award? I deserve it. Hey, it's in my genes.
Are we supposed to take this now?
Yes.
Good evening. I'm Denise, Director of Patient Care here at Hospice of the Foothills, and I have the privilege of presenting our Business Partner Award for Horizon, Oxygen, and Medical Equipment. And I have to say, when I thought about what was I going to write and what was I going to say about Horizon and Paul in particular, the Astound owner, it took me back to the first time I met him. He took a colleague and I out for dinner. And you know, salespeople, blah, 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 telling you how great they are and what they want and all this kind of stuff. But then he got down to his mission. And so I'm going to quote Horizon's mission for you. We are dedicated to exceeding our customers' expectations by providing excellent care, quality performance, and reliability in our home medical equipment services and products while striving to always be a blessing to our patients and their families. And I have to say that is totally true. So we are very fortunate. Horizon began their services with us April of 2017. Doesn't seem like it's been that long ago, but it has. And within 6 months, they ran right into that Lobo fire. We had our first phone call, I think about 4:45 in the morning. One of our employees was being evacuated. And oh my gosh, what do we do? We all kind of circled around the office. We started making phone calls to patients and families, and one of those was to Horizon. And how can you help us? We need oxygen, we need things delivered. We're not sure where everybody's at. We have all these logistics issues. And I have to tell you that they were spot on. They didn't let anybody go without oxygen services, without DME, and we were still admitting patients through all of this too. So we had new patients coming on in those few days, and they didn't miss a beat. So it was very fortunate for our families and for our staff as well. Then you turned right around, and in 2019, we had our power outages. And again, trying to be proactive, we made those calls to Horizon. This is what we need. This is who we know has generators. This is where we can shift these concentrators. They made multiple trips to deliver tanks, refill tanks, try and find where patients were at because they were here this day, the next day they were over here. And again, they never missed a beat. We heard of other instances where other hospices didn't have enough equipment to meet their patient needs. That never happened with Horizon. Never let our patients down. So now I'm going to share a few comments from our staff. And again, I'm just going to read them directly. This is what they feel about our hospice partners. The guys on the trucks are the best. If ever I need anything, they always get it for me and say, no, I'll call it in and take care of it. The drivers are always good-natured, never rude, and take the time to explain to our patients. Nice. I frequently hear from our patients how kind, prompt, and respectful the drivers are, and they provide excellent service and instruction. Each time I have put in a special request for families, delivery or pickup times, I have never heard back that the request wasn't honored. I have to say, in my 15 years at HOF, Horizon has been the best DME provider all around. Glad that they are our partners. So in closing, the last thing that I'm going to share with you, this is actually a family story that came to us about Horizon and how they interact with our families. We had an elderly patient who had memory and mobility issues. Didn't have a lot of joy in his life left other than music. One of the drivers, while delivering oxygen, happened to notice that they had a ukulele, you know what I mean, sitting close by. So the driver casually mentioned that he had a guitar. And all of a sudden, the patient kind of paid a little bit more attention and kind of perked up a little bit. So the driver happened to have the guitar in his truck. He brought it back into the house and played a couple of songs for the patient. That small act of kindness brought such a joy to that patient and family that they had to call and tell us this story, which we turned around and shared with Horizon as well. That really, again, amplifies their mission. It's all about the patients. It's all about making sure that their needs are met, and if there's anything extra they can do, they'll do it. We do appreciate our partner. We do appreciate everything that that Horizon offers. So I would like to take just a moment to say thank you, Paul, and invite him up here to receive his award, Paul Fuente. Jump in here if you do so.
Well, thank you very much, Hospice of the Foothills. It is an honor whenever you are recognized for doing something good. And my wife Anna Mae and I, we started this company 16 years ago with the idea of just ministering to people during the hardest time in their life. And that's death. That's the toughest battle we'll face. And so ministering to them and their families and helping hospices. Like people like Becky that want to go sit with people in stage. What a great thing to do. And we don't want to slow those people down or get in their way or not show up with oxygen and make it even more difficult. And so our philosophy was pretty simple. It was really along a Bible verse, and it's 1 Peter 3:8. It talks about that we are to be compassionate, tender-hearted, of one accord, not paying evil for evil or insult for insult, but on the contrary, to be a blessing. And so when I was reading that one day, we had already started the company. I thought, oh my gosh, that's it. This is exactly what we're doing, what I'm already training people to do. And that's what we've just continued to do, is to hire people that have a heart to be a blessing, that feel called to be a blessing, to serve others. And the story about Darian is just another great story on how people want to do that. And it's easy for me to cast that vision. And when I was out doing deliveries, it was easy to carry out that vision. But the Lord has been gracious to us. We are all over California. We're in Texas now, and to keep that going, it's I'm not going to lie, it's tiring. And now with COVID and everything that's going on, and what our PSTs are facing, and the fear, and just telling faith over fear, but it's really humbling to know that my guys are out there and they continue to carry out that vision and that mission. They really have a heart for people and a heart for hospice. And it's especially easy when you have a hospice like Hospice of the Foothills that really, really wants to do it right. They want to take care of the patients. They want to do whatever it takes to make that patient and that family comfortable at in stage. So thank you very much for the award. It really means a lot to Horizon, to our employees who are out there just trying to do their best and just trying to bless people. So thank you very much. Heavy award. And I didn't have a joke, but I will say the best face mask I have seen in all the COVID is Tim. Beautiful face mask. I can thank for that.
So we should have told you ahead of time that the bricks, we're going to keep the bricks because we have a new flagpole that was a memorial. And the bricks will be the first bricks that will be laid around the flagpole. The Dame Cicely Award winners this year will be those bricks as well. So we'll take those back from you, but the other award, please take and display. So I am so pleased to have the privilege of presenting the final award of this afternoon, the Clinical Care Provider Award. This esteemed award is presented annually to a member of our clinical staff who embodies the heart, skill, compassion, and grace of Dame Cicely Saunders. While I have profound admiration for the compassionate care provided by all of our clinical staff, there are those that I know were born to do this very intimate end-of-life work. And for Sari Trunk, our triage nurse, I am certain this is the case. After spending 20 years as a teaching tennis professional, Sari made the decision to pursue nursing through her volunteer work with AIDS patients in Los Angeles. After becoming an RN, Sari eventually managed a hospice for AIDS patients in West Hollywood. We are so grateful that life eventually led her to Grass Valley. As a triage nurse, Sari received phone calls from our patients, their families, or caregivers. When her phone rings, there is almost certainly a concern, distress, or emergency happening on the other end of the line. These are conversations that most of us could not imagine having. Yet Sari's calm demeanor and professionalism immediately puts the caller at ease.
This role is especially important during weekends and holidays when the majority of our staff is out. Last Thanksgiving Day, I came into the office to say hello to the staff working the holiday shift. Sari was at her desk, and when I walked by, her phone rang. The call was from a patient's loved one, and although I could not hear the conversation, I could discern panic in the caller's voice. Sari immediately began scanning the patient's medical record to review the diagnosis and recent nurse's notes. I could tell from her directions and responses that the situation was very serious. It was clear that the patient had only moments of life left, and it was up to Sari to calmly provide both comfort and instructions to the caller in order to facilitate a peaceful and beautiful death for the patient. Sari's choice of words and their heartfelt delivery were extraordinary. Sari reassured the caregiver that they were doing a great job and that what was occurring was completely normal. The skill with which she provided instructions, encouragement, and comfort was striking. This was such a profound and intimate conversation between two strangers. I will never forget it. I know Sari has been through similar calls more times than I can imagine in her 20 years of nursing, yet she meets each new caller with the same level of grace, concern, and compassion as the last. When I asked Sari how she does it, she replied that each time the phone rings, she stops for a split second to clear her mind. In that moment, she remembers that the person on the other end of the line is likely experiencing an unfamiliar and often frightening situation. Sari reminds herself that it is this patient's one precious death. I left the office that Thanksgiving Day and joined my friends and family with an overwhelming feeling of gratitude for nurses like Sari Trunk, organizations like Hospice of the Foothills, and people like you who make this level of exemplary care possible. What I know for certain is that if and when it is my turn to call, I want Sari Trunk to answer the phone. Sari, on behalf of all of the patients you have supported and those that love them, we would like to honor you with the Dame Cicely Saunders Award. I didn't cry.
This is a really special time. I went to nursing school in Los Angeles at LA County USC Medical Center. And it was just an amazing experience to be in a large facility like that and to be a nurse. And one of the themes that we all said is there's no I in team, okay? And that was the most important thing that I learned in nursing is that it takes a team. And even though I'm up here receiving the award, you cannot believe the team that I work with. I work with the most amazing individuals. And for me to receive this award, I feel blessed at the same time. I say I don't deserve it because I work with so many amazing people. So with gratitude, I want to just say one thing. You have no idea how wonderful this hospice is. You just cannot imagine how the home health aides put care and love into everything that they do. How the chaplains will hold the hand of those that are dying, how the administrators support the individuals in the field, and they do amazing things like flex staffing and time for child care. And so what I mean by there's no I in team, it means that you have a strength in the team and you feel obligated to tell other people about our program. And I'm rambling. what I just want to say is that this is an amazing program, and I'm very honored to receive this award. Thank you very much.
Sari, you know what what you made me think of? It's not on my paper, but you were inspiring me. Martin Buber wrote a book called I, Thou. And in that book, he talks about what happens when people treat each other as thous. So that what happens in the between is better than any of the individual pieces that are participating in the conversation or the act. And what I hear you say is that the way the people in Hospice of the Foothills act and work is as treating each other as thous. Thank you. Thank you. I'm Karen Packard. I'm the brand new president of the board, and my mentor and friend Sally, the president you're used to seeing, is sitting beside me back there. And she'll continue to sit beside me as we move into this next year. And it's my pleasure to bring our really inspirational time to a close. Thank you to all of our staff whose love and care made this event possible. It would have been easier to just put it on Zoom. But a lot of people put a lot of thought into how to work within this COVID situation and honor each of you in the way that you deserve. Where we want you to feel special and to know just how much you mean to us. These are challenging times, and they ask a lot of every one of us. But as we've seen and heard today, challenging times often bring out the best in all people. So to Paul and the people at Horizon, to the Robinson family, and to our own Sari, thank you for reminding us this day of what is good. Thank you for modeling ways that individuals can make a difference one person at a time, one story at a time. And that's what community is. People become their very best selves when they help each other. And we know about that here in Hospice of the Foothills because that's what's been happening in this organization for over 40 years. Helping people, one person, one family at a time. I'd like to share a quote from John Lewis. This is what he said. What I tell people is that if you come together with a mission and it's grounded in love and a sense of community, you can make the impossible possible. And there couldn't be a better quote for us today. And it describes Hospice of the Foothills in the past, in our present, and with our mission for the future. So often, we have situations that seem as if they might be impossible. But no, or we can't, aren't part of our hospice vocabulary. We come together with a mission that's grounded in love, and a mission that's grounded in a sense of community, because we are about making the impossible possible, one day at a time, one person at a time. I'm so grateful to have been reminded today that good is all around us, and that we are promised goodness, and we are promised that goodness takes wings and our world becomes a better place. And so I offer you all blessings. Thank you, Hospice of the Foothills. Thank you, Sari. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Robinsons, for being part of our community.
Okay, let's get you back up there. And then let's do one. YouTube plaque and then I'll.